Scanning for audio.
Welcome once again to another Tin Dog podcast. This time talking about Dot and Bubble, which is the fifth of the Disney Doctor Who stories. Now, the person who's going to be most happy with this whole story is a TV presenter called Timmy Mallett. Bear with me, this will make sense. Timmy Mallett was known in the UK for a Saturday morning TV show called Mallet's Mallet, where he would hit children with an inflatable mallet if they made a mistake in the yes-no game, that kind of thing. Now, Timmy Mallett himself is actually quite a clever chap. Encyclopedic knowledge of history, ongoing, that kind of thing. You know the sort of person, but he does hide it particularly well. He's best friends with Tommy Boyd. None of this is important. One thing that is important, and that's what matters with this story, is that he released the song Itsy Bitsy Teeny Weeny Yellow Polka Dot Bikini in the UK. It got to number 1. It was one of those summer comedy hits. You can tell that it's this version because this is the version of Itsy Bitsy Teeny Weeny Yellow Polka Dot Bikini that goes "oh yeah" halfway through, which is what this one is. It's an earworm. It'll get into people's heads. It'll play around and around and around until somebody gives in and buys it. I guarantee that sales of this particular track will have rocketed on today, which is Sunday. Makes you think. Okay, so this is my second attempt at recording this review because the first time the kit didn't work. I keep checking it, the little orange light is recording on the Tascam, and let's go with it. You see, the reason I'm not recording in my shed today is because I've got a poorly leg. Yeah, I think I may have not torn but strained my quad muscle in my right leg. Now, I was once run over, and this is more painful than that. I'm on some fantastic painkillers. Thank you, NHS. So, I didn't actually manage to record this review well the first time, so I'm now going to do it again, and I may start repeating myself, thinking that I haven't repeated myself, so bear with me. Because this is the review of Dot and Bubble, or as it would be known in the Target novelizations, Doctor Who and the Planet of the Racists. This week, there was a whole thing on Twitter, or whatever you want to call it these days, so Twitter it is, that this is going to be Doctor Who does Black Mirror. But what does that actually mean? Black Mirror, does it mean that Charlie Brooker's been hired to write an episode? No, although that would be interesting. And I'm sure he would say yes. And perhaps he realises what a completely daunting task writing an episode of Doctor Who truly is. No, what it means is that Black Mirror, the TV series, is basically the Twilight Zone for grown-ups. Although the Twilight Zone was the Twilight Zone for grown-ups, if you think about it. Where you've got a major story that follows through and it's a bit weird, and then at the end you get a twist. There's a twist at the end. Except, of course, there's a twist halfway through this, and they do spot this. It is nice that they're beginning to spot it. It's like having Bad Wolf, but then people go, oh, there's Bad Wolf, yes, seen that, spotted that, that's fine. So your basic story, the basic main story, has some issues, but it is by far a very, very good Doctor Who story. It feels to me very much like one of those 90s Doctor Who books, where the Doctor is hardly in it, just like last week's 73 Yards, and then at the end the Doctor turns up, makes a big speech, and then buggers off again. So that's how it feels like that. Now, yeah, this is a strong story. Last week's was a strong story. Yes, it's got issues. We're going to deal with those in a minute. But they were primarily Doctor Light. The Doctor only really appears in a Zoom story. Now, I know that he wasn't in last week's because he was apparently recording Sex Education or whatever that TV show is called that I've not watched. No, he's not in this either. Him and What's-Her-Face Sunday are just on a screen. They're trying to save the world via Zoom. I can see what you're trying to do in a kind of a Happiness Patrol vibe kind of a way. Try to save the world in a completely different way. But here's the issue. No, here's one of the issues. The giant space slug things, which look a lot like the art in Beetlejuice. Yeah, just say it 3 times. Or was it twice? Just don't keep saying. Anyway, those are killing people, and apparently they come from the Wild Wood. Now, the Wild Wood is outside the dome. The Wild Wood is also another fairy tale reference, which, it's fine. I really am thinking that the baddie's going to end up being called Rumpelstiltskin. So, your basic storyline is invasion, find out who actually was killing everyone, and the twist at the end is the racism. They're so racist they can't be saved. Yeah? Oh, and that brings about the speech from Nashuti, which is bloody brilliant. If anyone's going to go, hey, yeah, this is great, this is a great Doctor, this is he's finally the Doctor moment, this is it. I don't care what you say, just let me save you. Yeah, that's the sort of thing that would end up on a t-shirt you could buy in Virgin Megastore. Yes, the story's got certain macro vibes. We're thinking it's a society where everyone's oblivious and there's a creature popping people off. Now, here's my problem. You find out that the villain of the piece is AI, which, let's face it, that's the popular villain that can be wheeled out, and of course they can't complain. Now, you've got AI, which is a computer program, and it wants to kill off everyone, weirdly, in alphabetical order. Now, I've got a theory about this. The theory is that it killed everyone on the home world too quickly. It just used its little glowy dot, went through their faces, killed them all, and it wasn't particularly satisfied by the fact that it had killed everyone. Yeah? That makes sense. So everyone ends up dead. And then it gets annoyed, which is why, just like the guy in The Hitchhiker's Guide who wants to insult everyone in alphabetical order, it ends up wanting to kill everyone in alphabetical order, which is why it gets annoyed. Now, here's the thing. Is it the slugs that are killing people? Are they killing people when, say she'd stepped into that lift? That would have eaten her. That's what's implied earlier on. The slug thing wouldn't have gone out of the way. Are the slugs being controlled by the AI? Because if they're not, and people just get accidentally eaten, does it just chalk that up and go, well, at least everyone's got eaten now? No, if you're sticking to alphabetical order, that's fine. But AI wouldn't do that. AI would go, I want to do things in sectors. We'll clear this area, then this area, then this area, and move on. But perhaps that's not what it wants. It wants to tease and taunt people, and to be able to show off to its other AI friends that it managed to kill everyone in alphabetical order, except, of course, it didn't because of Singer Bloke. Oh, so halfway through, I'm watching this with the rest of my family, and my daughter's going, I've got some issues. And I went, yeah, we'll discuss that one at the end. And I went, well, so have I. I've got issues as well. My wife goes, okay. I said, do you not think the casting is just a little bit? And I searched for a word, and I went, unwoke? And she went, what do you mean? You mean it's not got diversity? I went, yeah, that's exactly the word I'm looking for. Normally, Doctor Who goes out of its way to have a diverse cast, but look at that Zoom's meeting screen. Everybody's white. And she went, well, you're right, and I had noticed that myself. I went, okay, but that's not what Doctor Who does. And you're right, no, it's not. So obviously we realised there was something going on, but we assumed that someone was just implying that all of the white people were the rich people. Oh, on the subject of rich, she says, oh yeah, her mum, Mrs. Twist, who everyone's recognising, is the one who paid for her to come, paid using cash. Now, Singer Bloke, later on, implies that they don't have money anymore because people used to work for something called money. They've all been sent there to this world. Now, obviously, I'm looking for the twist as we go by watching this, and I immediately think that the twist is actually that they're a completely useless class like the B-Arc of influences. And what Russell's decided is that all influences need to be jettisoned off into space to just, live out their days. But eventually they die. Now, okay, the fact that they can't walk, yes, admittedly, I am on my phone quite a lot, and I would like the whole turn left, turn right, whatever. But the fact that she's forgotten how to walk, but they are there only from 17 to 27. Is there a supply shuttle that comes and rescues them or takes them away when they reach their 27th, like a sort of Logan's Run thing, but instead of carousel, what you've got is a bus out of there? I don't know. Thinking about it, I just can't get past the existence of the slugs, the ability to kill people by putting your dot through somebody's head, and the fact that it's in alphabetical order. Which one are we going with on this one? It just feels odd. No, my wife did say something. She said, Russell's like a cool teacher, and he's sat down and he's going, hey, the kids, they're into social media. Let's write a story with social media in it, because that'll appeal to the kids, because I'm not a kid anymore, and I need to write that. And I can see that that's what he'd be doing. But again, I know that there's references to this kind of thing in years and years. Let me just have a look at my notes. So yeah, I thought they were just getting rid of their useless selves. Oh, here's a thing I needed to mention. I'm sure, and I've not gone back and checked yet, but I am sure that at some point somebody says, I think it's the Doctor, anti-grav, not anti-mav. Anti-gravity units, which we understand from our universe, but anti-mavity units, which would be in there, because it's implied that it's the future. So what ended the world and the life on the home world? And obviously, the moral of this story is phone your parents, because then you'd know what was going on the other world. So, people changing their names. I get it right now. Oh, hang on. Obviously, like everyone else watching this, we're waiting for the twist. So what we think is, hey, I wonder if that singer guy, Mr. September, I wonder if he is actually the villain, because he's surviving. But also, he's a reader. Oh, never trust a reader. And more importantly, everyone follows him, so everyone knows who he is. Now, here's the thing. You would assume that Russell was going to do some sort of, hey, it's the guy in charge of social media who's the villain, because let's face it, it's not a big jump from where we actually are these days to establish that that's the case, because he's the most followed person, because I assumed, do you remember MySpace? You would join MySpace, and the first friend you would ever have was called Tom, and Tom was the bloke who ran MySpace, and he was friends with everyone, because he ran MySpace, and he was always everyone's first friend. So I assumed that it was like Tom here. That's why I've put Tom in the thumbnail for this image. So obviously I'm 14 steps ahead and completely going down a rabbit hole of nonsense. I did think, are the slugs secretly intelligent, and are they librarians, which is why they're doing everything in order? But the singer's the red herring, but he's not. Because the singer's the thing that manages to switch the narrative round. Because you think, oh, he's all right, and he's helping the main character. And because she's the main character, whose name I've also forgotten, you then go, right, therefore she's nice. Because we're supposed to empathise with these new characters, with these people. We're supposed to go, yep, with you, you're on my side because the Doctor's trying to save you, so therefore you must be a nice person. Because that's what Doctor Who does and has done for 62 years, but that's wrong. Because you switch the moment that she throws the singer bloke under the bus. The minute that happens, you know she's not the good guy, but she's morally not brilliant. So that you don't mind as much when you know they're going off to their certain doom because they're racists. Perhaps that's what it's all about. Narratively speaking, it's a lovely, lovely bluff. It's a twist, it's a turn. And I don't know why there's a car outside with incredibly loud music that you can probably hear on this recording. Hopefully my leg will be better and I can go back to my recording in my semi-soundproof shed. Right, I'm going to go now because I've rambled for ages. Yes, I enjoyed it. Yes, I'm worried that my favourite stories so far have been very Dr. Light. But I'll tell you one thing, it's better. And I think Timmy Mallet deserves people to buy that single. Go on, you know you want to. Or yeah. Until next time, be seeing you. That was the Tin Dog Podcast. Everything discussed is the intellectual property of others. No infringement is intended. For early access to reviews, follow the show on YouTube or Twitter @Tin Dog Podcast. To contact the show, email tin-dog@hotmail.co.uk. The Tin Dog Podcast is a founder member of the Doctor Who Podcast Alliance.